Now, so hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of our game of Labyrinth the Adventure game. We are playing on the Gauntlet, which means we're using the Gauntlet's inclusivity policy. We are using safety tools, including the Axe card and lines and veils. We have just rechecked our lines and veils to make sure that we are happy in terms of what is going on inside them. I am joined by my 4 players. I'll get them to introduce themselves in a moment. But in this game, we will be leaving the stone walls and heading into the next part of the labyrinth, which is the hedge mage. Hedge maze rather than hedge mage, because that's a very different thing, right? Hedge maze in terms of what we're doing. So again, we've got our characters. They have all set themselves up, and now can they get themselves out of the stone walls and into the hedge maze, making their way towards the Goblin King's castle. Our characters are together for various reasons, but there is a recipe for a stew that was in Lily Valentine's grandmother's book. And that was sort of our hook for bringing our human into the labyrinth, where she is joined by various colourful characters who call the labyrinth and the lands around it their home. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask Lily to introduce themselves first.
Thanks, Dave. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Lily Valentine, who is a girl who, to all appearances, looks like a fierce pirate, but that is only due to the fact that she was at a Halloween fancy dress party when she was, taken into the labyrinth. And she is, as mentioned, seeking out her grandmother's stew recipe, who the Goblin King stole. And although now that she's on this path, she's probably going for a whole host of different reasons, which her companions have brought to her attention. So,
yeah. And they are joined by a fiery called Wanko, played by Maria. So can you introduce us to Wanko, Maria?
Hi, I'm Maria, she, they pronouns, and I'm playing Wanko, a small, fiery, very cute. And they lost their friend named Todd, who also went after the stew recipe, and now they're accompanied by these fancy characters to recover their friend. Yeah.
Excellent. And a worm called Squeek, played by Ozzy.
Hello, my name is Ozzy. My pronouns are he, him. I play Squeek, the worm, and well, the recipe for that stew that was originally written by worms. It is a family recipe that has disappeared, and it is Squeek's task to retrieve it.
Excellent. And perhaps joining them for the stew, or maybe their own reasons, is Scraggle Neatfinger's goblin, who is not in the employ of the Goblin King, played by Sabine.
Hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Scraggle Neatfinger, he, him, who is a goblin, but he believes that he should be Goblin King because he's better at most things, almost everything. He doesn't like to brag, though, much. He's after the recipe because you shouldn't keep stuff for yourself. If he were a king, then he would give out the recipe to everyone who wanted
it. That seems fair. So we saw some colourful characters. We've made our way through this part of the labyrinth, and now after helping 2 lovers reunite after 100 years apart, and putting one in a cage while the other ran off deeper into the labyrinth, it's as if people here are not always as kind as they seem. Our traveling heroes were provided a map to the exit for the stone walls, and the journey has been long. You have spent many hours now coming, or it feels like anyway, hours coming through the the labyrinth and the walls. It's dusty and dirty, but you can hear now ahead of you down the corridors many voices, sort of amplified in some way, hundreds of them, and you can hear dwarfish and goblins and squeaks from worms and flitting light from fairies, and you can see them ahead in a semicircle which appears to be quite a large amphitheater. And at the heart of the amphitheater is a raised stage, and on it a trumpet stands looking into the amphitheater. Beyond it, you can see two metal doors with figures etched into them. Their eyes seem light and alive, and they're watching everything that is going on. What do you do?
Well, we
Have
need to
I
go.
heard about this?
Have you heard about this place?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is referred to. This room is referred to as the Truth Speaker's room, and here the denizens of the labyrinth may come together and speak. Sometimes used for speeches or plays or declarations of war, but you can certainly see that this seems to be divided into two halves with two forces shouting and screeching at each other, pointing fingers.
The truth
Wanko
speakers
copies.
room.
Oh, go ahead.
Wanko?
Wanko copies the posture of one of the pictures on the door.
It's as if they were holding up a symbol, so you've sort of got to go like a lion rampant, which works quite well for a fiery, I suppose, as you sort of stand on one foot. But as you do this, a dwarf who's standing on the stage trying to get everything to calm down sees you and blows the trumpet with an ear-splitting blast. How do you react to such a loud noise, Scraggle?
I was just about to copy the other one, just so we have two matching things.
Yeah.
But of course, loud noise, that means you have to, I don't know, do something. And I, instead of assuming the pose, I will shout, "It wasn't me!" and take cover behind Lily. That's mostly instinctive, and I'm embarrassed, obviously, after a second. I'll shout again. But...
So as you do that, the crowd's eyes, both factions, and there are hundreds of people here. Their voices were amplified by the amphitheater, but suddenly it's silent, and you can sort of hear the creak in the wood as everyone turns to look at you, Lily.
I lean down to Scraggle and say, "What wasn't you?"
Nothing. I don't even know. I didn't blow the trumpet. I didn't blow the trumpet. It didn't make the noise. It wasn't me.
That much seemed obvious to everyone. Now we're going to have to
It was a
explain.
dwarf.
Well, it was that dwarf.
Maybe we should just listen and see who's has trouble with whom, and then maybe we can decide who's right or not.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, last time we solved the dispute, it didn't seem to work out quite as planned.
It worked out. We got where we wanted to, and the situation was changed for everybody. So everybody got something out of it. And that's how it will go when I'm king. So we'll got to listen to this.
As you sort of agree, that is your course of action. The dwarf blows the horn again and says, "The guests have arrived. It is only fair that we have a chance to hear what they say." And then from one side of the crowd go, no, no, throw them into the bog of eternal stench. Yes, put their feet in molten stone and cook them. That's the way forward. And the others go, no, no, no. Scraggle Neat Fingers and Scraggle Neat Fingers and Valerie Valentine's granddaughter will free us from the tyranny of the Goblin King. And then they start shouting at each other again, and the two big night trolls sort of try to push them back from each other, these forces. But it seems that your exploits have been heard, and the denizens of the labyrinth are choosing sides. Do you engage, or do you decide to leg it?
What? No, this calls for a speech. I mean, I will run up to the dwarf and take the horn from him. And then I will tout it. Like, there comes no noise out of it. Scraggle isn't that good at tooting a horn. But he then gives it back to the dwarf and says, you do that. And then says, people, hey, gentle beings, fox, listen to me. Hello? Hey, listen to me, please.
The noise is almost unavoidable, so everyone sort of put their hands over there, and you can hear that noise, and people stop and wait and listen.
I am Scraggle Neat Fingers, and I think I would make a better king than the Goblin King, because the Goblin King oppresses you and he never gives out anything good for people. And people should have stuff, right? Everybody should have stuff. Everybody should have a bar tab, but never need to pay it. And that would happen if I were king. You would all have good things. So would I. But that's fair, because everybody gets good things. And with the Goblin King, only a few people get good things, and that's bad, because there are enough good things for everyone. That's
as you have been saying this, the others among you, that speech is going on, we'll see what the reaction is for the crowd in a moment, can spot that there are little blue-ridged and blue-backed spiders skittling over the walls and through the crowd. The crowd itself is quite popular, and those characters and creatures that you've seen so far in the labyrinth, including Gloam the dwarf and Loma the big beast, and among others, all the people from the bar, the worms, they are here. Even the tile keepers that you stepped so unceremoniously on their homes about are here. They're all looking intently at your at sort of Scraggle's call to action. Is anyone reacting to the spiders creeping through the...
How big are these? Are these like teeny tiny, or
different sizes,
hand sized?
Probably about D6 or so sized, but there are hundreds of them scribbling through the crowd.
Are they doing anything to the crowd?
No.
Like crawling up legs or anything like that?
No, they sort of all make their way through. I suppose if they're doing that, let's see how the crowd react to you, Scraggle, and your call to action.
I have to roll something?
Yes. You would really make just a roll to see how that goes. So choosing if there's any suitable traits or flaws that you think you should.
Well, I think I'm boastful. That should apply.
So
that's bad, right?
Yeah, that's a flaw. But because you chose Loma's door to go through rather than Gome's door, you are improved. So it will balance out. So what you're going to do is just roll one dice to see how the crowd reacts.
I will roll this one yellow die.
I apologize.
It's a 5.
Whoa! The crowd seems swayed by your years, and there is a sort of a polite applause from the crowd and nodding. from individuals. But then the spiders sort of swarm up to the stage around you and sort of pull up as a pillar and then whoosh away to show us the armored form of the Goblin King. They look at you and says, "Oh, Scraggle Neat Fingers, you would be king."
Well, yeah. And I slowly back away. I would be a good king, even for you. You could be my loyal subject.
Says,
Or not. You could be my moderately loyal, or please don't be a disloyal subject.
And he sort of looks and points at Lily Valentine and says, "And you, Lily Valentine, you said you came here by accident, maybe just to find a recipe with your friends, but no, actually you planned sedition with this one." And he sort of grabs Scraggle's ear and pulled him up by the ear, holding him in the air.
Ow, 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 ow.
Well, that's not true. And also, stop it.
Let him go.
Drops Scraggle unceremoniously to the ground.
I didn't come here to plan to overthrow you, but now that I'm here and I see how mean you are, maybe you need some overthrowing.
Mean? I am not mean. I am kind. Am I not? The Goblin King proclaims to the crowd, and half of them raise their hand and go, "Yeah, he's our king!" Up comes the banners, and on the other side, up comes an effigy, and they start hitting it with a stick.
Oh my god.
So anyway, now that you're here, why don't you return our stuff and our friends? Because look, we have reached you before the time allotted, right?
You were to reach the heart of the labyrinth, not to reach me. And besides, I reached you. I was here to assist all of these people. For I, unlike Scraggle Neat Fingers, have the means to pay your bar tabs. And he clicks his fingers and you can see tables pop up from the ground with tankards and feasts all around it, and says, "What can you do, Scraggle Neat Fingers? Can
Well, at
you
least
feed the people?"
I can keep my word if I give it. So that's better, right? Because you said if we reached you, and suddenly it's if we reached the heart of the labyrinth. You just keep changing things. Also, I'm not mean. I'm not pulling people's ears.
Says, but you did leave a poor 100-year-old man in a cage just to go on your journeys. You are crueler than I.
Well, he wanted to do that, right? I mean, I can't. He wanted to be in that cage. Okay, he wanted to be there with his wife, but she didn't want to be there, so she ran away. So it was ideal, but it was better than before.
Oh, that old argument, is it? If I told you to put your hand in the fire, would you? And one of the goblins on the Goblin King style runs forward, goes, "Yeah!" and puts their hands into the fire, comes out on fire, starts rolling around on the floor.
Why would I ask the people to put their hand in the fire? Unless they really want to. I mean, he wanted to, so he can, obviously, but I'm not asking. That's mean. See, that's mean, asking that.
See, and now we get to the crux of the matter. Scraggle Neat Fingers wishes to make this the land of do as you please. And as we see the goblin running back and forth on fire, said, when you are not given clear instructions, bad things happen. You have a choice, the land of do as you please or the land of do as I say. What will it be? He says, the Goblin King says, I am do as I say.
I'm do as you please, obviously, because do as I say is just bad. I mean, he said, put your head in the fire. He didn't want.
So brave
you saw
people.
what happened.
The so brave people of the labyrinth. If we will put this to a vote, if you vote for me, I will throw these criminals into the oubliette where they will stay for 100 years. And if you vote for them, then they will go forward towards the castle at the center of the labyrinth and see if they can take it from me.
How about this vote instead? If they vote for you, you get to keep being Goblin King, and if they vote for us, Scraggle.
I think that's how vote works, actually.
Do the spiders get to have a vote?
Say it again, Maria, sorry.
Do the spiders get to have a vote?
Oh, the spiders turned into the Goblin King. Sorry if I wasn't clear about that. So he goes, fine. If Scraggle wins the vote, they can be the Goblin King.
Wanko creates a small chant for the Scraggle side of the crowd, and they're like making shapes with their limbs and stuff.
Okay. So, because you are helping, you can describe how your traits can be helped. You can reduce the difficulty by 1.
Neat.
Anyone else in a way that they can help?
I'm using my limbs to spell larger.
Good. So the difficulty for this will be because the Goblin King was not going to give up easily. You're up the stakes. So the difficulty is now a 5. Is anyone else going to help in any way that think they can?
Maybe Squeek knows of some people who are afraid to vote against the Goblin King, and will maybe the two of us can help bring them over to Scraggle's side, maybe by disguising them. You know.
For the oppressed. The worms are always overlooked. Do we see any other worms in the audience?
Oh yeah, the worms that were in the bar last time are here. They're sort of they're on definitely Scraggle's side, but they are wavering because they have had their bar bills paid, and that's fundamentally, you know, their main cause of the pain is like, I can have more beer now.
That was Scraggle's main platform, really, when it comes down to it.
Worms unite!
Worms unite. So why don't we roll? But I think I won't. Well, I probably should. We'll roll flat. We'll just roll 1 dice and see. You're looking for a 5 or a 6.
Okay. Well, that's could be worse as chances go. But I'm not optimistic. Scraggle is, though. Wow, I've rolled a 1, so no.
On a 1, you always fail, and it always goes worst. So, what are your final remarks to the crowd? What do you say that you realise has lost the crowd and possibly offended them, Scraggle?
I think I'm getting maybe a little too boastful here. I mean, this is not my forte, and I will probably say something like, "Oh my gosh, yeah."
Do you claim credit for something that people in the crowd absolutely know you didn't do? Maybe.
Yes. I will start listing my great achievements and like stealing the Dwarven King's keg of beer. Because I'm very proud of that. And that didn't come over right because stealing is not great, and I didn't even steal a keg of beer, I just stole a keg.
Right, I think that works. When you say the Dwarven King's beer, and the Dwarven King was on your side, and he's in the crowd, and he's looking at you. Did what? You stole my beer? No. And the dwarves shift sides and go to the other side of the crowd, which cause it to tilt slightly, a tilt in the Goblin King's favor, and which the Goblin King leans forward and looks at you, Scraggle, and says, you have lost.
Yeah, well, that's public opinion, you know. I guess I have to work on my message then. Till next time.
Till less time indeed. I promised to throw you into the oubliette, Scraggle.
But that was the first deal. That was the first deal. The second deal was different, the one that Lily proposed, and you agreed to.
Yes. You said you would just stay Goblin King.
I tell you what.
And now you don't have to worry about sedition anymore because Scraggle has seen the will of the people and won't argue anymore, right? Because he's wise.
I am wise. That's true. That's true. Yes.
You are? The people go, yes, Scraggle is wise. You may take wise as a trait.
Yay!
At least the people think you are wise.
I put it in air quotes.
The Goblin King pats and strokes Scraggle on the head and says, "This has been interesting. I have not had so much fun, Lily Valentine, since your grandmother was here. So, I will not throw you in the oubliette, but I will charge you." He clicks the finger and the clock strikes 2 on the counter. "I will charge you for the use of my time." Says, "This little escapade is over. There are more to come." And suddenly the Goblin King explodes into thousands of spiders and scuttles off up and over the walls and away. When you look back, the crowd is gone. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Can I catch one of the spiders?
You can try. Yeah, you can try. So do you think there are any traits that are applicable to you here?
I don't think wise is helpful, but I mean, I'm sneaking and hiding and stealing stuff. I mean, that might help.
I will say that sneaking and hiding is appropriate. So you will roll 2, choose your highest.
It's a 4.
A 4 will be enough as you grab one of the little spiders between your hands, and it glows with sort of a ethereal, ephemeral, bright blue, like the gems in the Goblin King's.
And I'm going over to Wanko and showing him, "Look, I caught one."
And then I go like super wide-eyed and go like, "Can I touch it?"
Sure, yeah. Don't eat it, maybe.
Yeah, I was good. I'm like, oh, and I grab it with both hands and like smoosh it a little bit. Like, yeah. I have a stuffed toy. I will demo it later.
Well, it's Legos.
So you slightly squeeze it in a big squishy hug, right? That's I think what we're. Yeah.
Like that.
It makes a note of music sound. It's a B sharp, so you may add into your equipment, whoever's carrying it, a musical spider.
Oh, wonderful! That's cool.
But yeah, it is empty. The feast tables are still here, but the crowds have disappeared. And it would be as if anyone had not have expected they were here at all. But all of a sudden, the 2 figures on the door sort of turn a dial of the sun, and it goes from sun to night, and the moon, and the doors click and creak open, and you see green hedges beyond.
Ooh.
So
Hedge
this is the way,
maze.
right? We got to go through a maze, a hedge maze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
I hate these things.
Doesn't. Let's
Does
eat
anyone
it.
have any bread?
Not there, over there on the table.
Oh, yeah.
If you, I'll
anyone
offer
who
you
has
my hand.
hands,
Yeah,
pick up
I'll-
some bread.
Yeah, I will pick up some bread and bring it to you.
And then we leave a crumb at every corner so we know where we've been.
Oh, I thought you wanted to eat it.
No. We need to leave a trail.
Oh, okay. But what if we get hungry?
Well, then take some more bread.
Okay, good idea.
Just don't pick up the crumbs you've dropped.
Oh, Okay. But my mama taught me to always pick up my crumbs.
No, not this time. Of course, no. If it's on the floor, then you shouldn't eat it.
Why not?
It's dirty.
So?
Yeah. It's unhygienic.
What's that? Is that a good thing?
It makes things grow in your stomachs.
Okay.
I'm
They will eat you from the
bemused
inside.
by the fact that a worm who probably crawls through the earth is so on the hygiene train.
Probably a reason for that.
Yeah. But not surprised at all that Scraggle Neatfingers has not heard of such a thing. I think Neatfingers is some kind of a cruel jest when they gave him a name.
No, his fingers are very neat. I mean, they're not clean, but they're neat to be used for getting into things,
Stealing.
Yeah, well, yeah. If everything belonged to everybody, stealing wouldn't be so bad.
So what's this pit that the Goblin King was talking about? Is this a trick? Another trick? Like, does the hedge maze lead to this pit?
Yeah, maybe.
The oubliette, you mean?
The oubliette, you mean? That is a prison thing.
I think that's under the castle.
Yeah, or above the castle, floating in the air forever. He puts his she puts their political opponents into the oubliette, and you never see them again. They're totally forgotten. You forget their names, everything.
I think Wanko draws a circle around the crumbs on the floor just in case Scraggle gets any of the crumbs that they left on the floor. At least there's a drawing of a circle or a square on the ground.
Awesome. So you put that as you step through the doors and into the hedge maze.
I want one of the tankards before, because there's stuff in it, right? Drinks.
One of the what? Sorry,
you said there the tankards were still on the table. So yeah, that's feast before we go, because challenges should always be met on a full belly, even if nothing grows in there, because that's unhigh thingy it.
And do you? How full are your bellies when you leave? Do you eat just enough, or eat until you are so full that you would never wish to eat again?
Just enough, of course.
Well, the problem is that fairy cakes are very Moorish.
Oh no!
I will ask you to roll to see if you get a trait or a flaw out of this individually. The difficulty number is a 3, so you need to hold. You need to roll a 4, 5, 6. So it would be 4 then. So a 4 to 6 is a success. A 3 or less is a failure for anyone who eats.
Six.
Then you may have the temporary trait full belly.
I got a 4.
You may also have a full belly.
I have no wish to restrain myself, so I don't roll.
Then you gain the floor full belly at this point, and it may slow you down because you have literally full of fairy cakes and beer.
Can I pocket some of the fairy cakes?
Yes, add them into your equipment.
Yeah, like a kangaroo pouch.
Yep. But are you eating or not?
Maybe not.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm taking a fairy tankard. There's no kegs. There's just a tankard, and I'm
Yep.
taking it.
Please mark it into your equipment if you're taking anything with you. But I say it lasts. You can only carry 6 pieces of equipment, so if you keep picking up more, you may need to get rid of some of them. But yes, at that point, your bellies are well fed, and you make your way through. And as you cross the threshold of the doors, it's like stepping to somewhere else. It is a land of perpetual evening sunset that smells of warm summer. It smells of flowers, and just especially for those of you who are well fed, you feel this is pleasant. Except Scraggle, who might feel slightly sleepy because they've had a very big feast and it's quite warm here, and it's likely a nice evening. You might want to have a little sit down and sleep. But there are sort of the mazes are perfectly cut in terms of shape and size. There are flowers and trellis ways and cracked patio paths that make this a pleasant space. As you come by, little fairies flit by and past you, and you see yourself in in an opened room. As you step forward, the doors behind you slam shut. They clang like metal from one side, but as you turn back, you can see a green part of a hedge, and the door that was there is gone. But here in front of you, you see a huge sundial, and the sundial is pointing currently to 2 in terms of the 13 hours on the dial. The sun, even if it moves, doesn't seem to move the light on the sundial. Sitting on a pillar, snoring gently, is an old man in a hat, which is shaped like a chicken. He sort of makes noises as he sleeps. Elsewhere, there are pillars and vases. One of them is particularly large, and the chicken hat sort of goes, "What? Huh? Hmm?" As you sort of start moving towards it, he goes, "Oh, I didn't see you there. Where did you come from?"
I stay well away from the chicken.
The worm takes the high ground and makes sure they're hidden from the chicken. Makes sense. He goes, said, "What are you doing here? Where did you come from? I didn't see you arrive."
We came through from the theater, or the place of truth telling, whatever it was called.
I goes, "Oh, you're those ones. You're making your way through the labyrinth." It says, "I'm afraid," he looks down, "he's sleeping. He's usually very useful. If you want to wake him up, you'll need to make a small contribution." And the sleeping hand's fingers sort of extend out with a little offering box.
Wanko squeezes the spider to make a sound.
Well, let's see if that's enough to wake him up. It seems like it's reasonable. So you're using your piece of equipment here, which is the spider. So you could squeeze the spider and
His ear.
Yeah. So you roll
2d6 or 1.
Say it again. Sorry.
2d6 or 1.
2d6 because you're using a piece of equipment. So you're aiming again to get 4 or above.
5 and 6.
Woohoo! So as you do that, there is a musical note from and the wise man sort of twiddles his head and shakes it. What's that? Gotta be time to get up. He looks down at all of you, and you with the sort of squeaky spider. The spider sort of looks back at you and says, "It's not nice to squeak me."
Oh, and I say, I'm sorry. You just sound really nice.
So the wise man goes, and he goes, what? Says, who are you? What is your quest? He looks over and goes, says, my eyes are not so good. He sort of rubs the little glasses and looks and peers over them and says, Valerie Valentine, is that you?
No, I'm her granddaughter. My name is Lily. It's been a while. Have you been sleeping that long?
He goes, I used to be younger many years ago. He goes, would someone like to roll a D66 for me? So roll 2D6 and give me the number you roll.
I'll do it. 43.
Oh, I remember your grandmother well. I was younger then, or older, or the same. I forget. But great heavenly gods, it was such a time. The flattery that she could give to hippogriffs. They could get away with anything. They're very easy to flatter, hippogriffs. What was that manticore's? I forget. One of the two. And he sort of head goes back down and he falls back to sleep, snoring gently. He says, that's it. He'll need a nap now. You've tired him out, unless you want to wait.
Another 100 years or whatever. Well, that was very useful. I mean, if we meet any hippogriffs, whatever they are,
They're like griffs, only with a hippo.
The water.
I mean, hippopotamuses are very dangerous. I know that much.
I
Oh,
think they fly.
yeah. Yeah, because they're a griff. It's not the same thing as a grifter. I had to learn that, but I learned that very well.
You're the grifter here, Scraggle.
Yes, I pride myself on being a very good grifter, but I'm not a hippo grifter. So,
You have standards, at least.
well, if I had a hippo, maybe. Should have a hippo. I really think I deserve a hippo.
So I guess we find our way through this maze then.
Yes, there are.
How hard can it be?
There. You look through this. So there are large pots around you. The sundial, the now sleeping man, and the chicken going like. Chicken sniffs and goes, "Can I smell a worm?" But there are 6 different pathways out of this center of this maze.
Sniff each of them.
Sniff each of them.
To see if one of them sort of gives me a hint if it's the right one.
So as you sniff, each of them smell of slightly different roses. You can smell their blossom, but they sort of effectively you travel from this location. So as you travel down the path, you will roll a d6 and add it to the reset progress that we have.
Do we think maybe the spider knows which way to go? You know, it's part of the Goblin King after all.
Yeah, maybe we could ask the spider and bribe him with some fairy cake.
We could make some harmonious noises with the spider.
Yeah. So maybe Wanko holds the hands, both hands on the both faces of the spider, and then looks at it squarely in the eye and says, "Which way is the right way?" And with like angry eyebrows.
So you're going to try and get the spider to tell you which direction to go in. The spider looks back at you and goes, "No, you squeeze me."
And then I like hold one of its hands and puts it on my cheek, and I'm like, "You can squeeze me back."
He goes, "What does the right way look like?" It's that way. And he points to one of the doors. Or the path in the hedge, not a door. Exits from the room.
I feed it some fairy cake and say, "Thank you very much," and then pats the head like really softly.
We trust a part of the Goblin King to tell us the truth, though. I mean, we've had this before, and we thought it wasn't the truth, and then it was, and then we made a mistake, so maybe we trust it this time?
Plus, the spider doesn't seem like mean.
It's true. No, it's true. Okay. Let's take that one.
Okay. So you step through, and the pathway is, you go left and right through the pathway, where you see sort of, as I say, thorny bushes, berries on the trees, smelling beautiful roses that you can see the fairies are tending to. But you enter through and out of the hedge, and the next thing that we find on the hedge is a alcove. It says, "Ooh," says the spider. It says, "Mysterious," and it wiggles four of its arms as it says "mysterious" and blinks number of its eyes. And there in the booth is a wizened old woman with a wrinkly, squishy face and a cloth over her head as a head mask made of bright blue material, little golden coins on it, and there's a huge banner across the front of the table with seats that says "Fortunes told for good or for ill." And she sort of sees you and goes, "Ah." He says, come forward. I will tell you your future. I will tell you what you need to do to make your way to the Goblin Castle.
That seems she seems trustworthy.
I mean, I would have been impressed by her seer credentials that she knew we were going there, but it seems like everyone knows instantaneously in this labyrinth what we're up to and who we are.
Oh, yes, the worms spread news very quickly.
This is true. No one gossips like worms.
You resemble that remark.
To which point the goblin, the old woman goes, "I am Madam Brackish, and I know things about all of you."
Wasn't me.
Like what?
I didn't do it. Whatever she knows, it's not. It's a misrepresentation.
I thought, Scraggle, all the things that everyone said about you were absolutely true. You did them all.
Yes, I did them all, but only the good ones, not the bad ones. I didn't do. They get things mixed up, which is natural, I guess, because I did so many great things. But you know, legends, they tend to grow beyond a person's ability to control them. But maybe you should have your fortune read, Lily, because we need to get to the center.
I guess.
I want to fade into the background a little, and then I want to go, and at one point I want to steal that headscarf, because that is really pretty.
You want to steal the headscarf?
Yes, but I need her to be a bit distracted with the others, so I'll wait until the time is right for me to grab it.
So will you have your fortune told, Lily Valentine? Been a long time since a Valentine has crossed my palm with silver.
Yeah, did you tell my grandmother's fortune?
Yes, yes, I told your grandmother's fortune. It says, I told her that she would have a granddaughter, and that granddaughter would be called Lily. Yeah, I was right.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And she goes, look, I will help. And she looks into this sort of a box next to her, which is full of crystal balls. So she's rumbling around, picking one up, holds it to one eye, pointed at you, pulls it back. Going, no, wrong one. Oh, no, cracking it. And she's sort of rummaging through, looking for the right crystal ball at the moment. And then she grabs one and plonks it down on the table and polishes it with a little silk scarf and says, ha ha! He goes, yes, this one. This will tell you your fortune. All you must do is cross my palm with silver.
I think I will, fetch something, a coin out of my pocket. Maybe a 10 pence piece or something like this is left in there. I'm not sure if it qualifies as silver, but it looks silvery. So I shall put that into the old lady's hand.
I have one on my desk. So she looks at it and goes, ooh, who is that wrinkly old lady on the back of the coin?
I'm sure that's you.
Ah! Taking the coin, she concentrates and puts her hand on the crystal ball and closes one eye and is sort of making a humming noise. She is in a trance. Would you like to roll a D66, Lily?
I will. 44.
Goes, Aha! I see you making a night troll cry.
I mean, are night trolls mean or nice? I don't want to make anyone cry.
He goes, he says, night trolls are normally not that nice. I'd be more worried that you had to see one at all. They're really more likely to eat you than anything else.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Is that it? That's my fortune. I'm going to make a night troll, whatever that is, cry.
Yes. And you can mark that down as a trait. And if you can find a way to squeeze it in to any point, you can use it to roll with advantage. Yes. Goes, right.
Worth every penny I paid on this.
He goes, yes, you say this now, but you could turn that corner. There would be a night troll, and it would be looking to eat you. And you know now that you're gonna make it cry. Do something mean. Say something sarcastic and cruel. Good at that, aren't you?
I don't know what you're talking about. I am never sarcastic. Never.
Anyone else wish their fortune told?
Yeah, yes. And I'll have a bag of marbles, and I bet one of them is silver.
Yeah, that's fine. She takes it and she looks at it and goes like, ooh, travel crystal ball size. How useful.
So D66?
Yes, please.
That's a 34.
Yes, and surprising with you, I see you framed for a crime you did not commit.
Story of my life.
Said, "Don't worry. The worst that can happen is they'll throw you into the bog of eternal stench."
Lovely.
Does Wanko want their fortune read, or are we moving on to Scraggle trying to steal the headscarf?
I feel like Wanko offers that if this is okay for the fiction,
Yeah.
can they offer I'll read your fortune if you read mine.
Oh,
And then
I've never had my fortune read.
and then he puts the spider like on his head so that it looks like a third eye.
Yeah.
He's like
You hold it up, and the spider goes, "I feel like I've been co-opted into this. We should be discussing terms of employment if I'm going to be used as your get out of jail free card."
and then he keeps squeezing him so that he just makes the note.
Well,
Instead of talk.
do you want to say something, or do you want me to roll on the table and
Yeah, I feel like I'll roll for the prediction of the fortune teller, and then I'll also predict back. if
Okay.
that's okay.
So why don't you roll twice then?
Okay. Ooh. 2 and a 2, 22.
Uh-huh.
And 23. Oh, so it's beside each other.
Okay. So 22. Do you want to choose the 22 or the 23 for yourself?
22 for myself.
He goes, I see you being lifted up by a crowd, she says, held above them. Can't really tell if they're angry or happy. Could be either. I'd watch your back either way. And then
jumps up for that reading.
And then the spider says, and I see you caught in a spider's web. Ha ha! And the spider swishes her with spider silk, allowing Scraggle to try and steal with advantage and being helped. So your difficulty here, you just need, as long as you rolled a 3 or above, you'll be able to steal a headscarf.
Wow. Okay, let's see. I've got a 3. Yes, barely squeaking by.
Oh, you could have had 2 dice, but yeah, as long as you've hit it, that's fine.
I've got a 3 and a 1. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 3 is enough as you grab that off her head. He goes, "Oi!" She screams, "That's mine!"
But it's so pretty. It's mine now.
"Yes!" squeaks the spider. "Steal from everybody!" Woo-hoo!
Yes! Yay! But I will give her back the coins, of course. I just wanted the cloth.
Okay. So add that into your equipment that you have a fortune teller's headscarf. And you can move onwards from here, unless there's anything else that anyone wants to do in this scene.
I want to use the headscarf as a cloak.
Cool. So, would someone like to roll a d6 for me, please?
I'll do that. A 1.
So, you head out from here, and the fortune tellers sort of still covered in spiders' web, going, "I'll tell everyone about you. You're thieves, the lot of you. Thieves."
This is clearly that crime I didn't commit.
Well,
It's true.
It's
True.
true.
It was just me that stole the cloth.
You said it, Squeek. So you can have the floor known thief. As you make flaws and traits can be got rid of and traded off in the game, right? So you make your way through a hopscotch of flagstones. You know well enough now that stepping on the flagstones is the bad thing because people tend to live underneath them. So instead, you step on the grass and not the flagstones, making your way through to a circular clearing in the hedges. The walls of the hedges here are full of bright coloured berries that are almost of the rainbow, and in the middle of it there is, strange I suppose, an oddity. There are three stone-edged square ponds, each of them totally icy still. There are no sounds, no wind, no bird song. And as you step, and every step you make, the pond slightly ripple. There are 3 exits from this labyrinth room, but only thing that you see are the berries and the ponds.
Is the water clear?
Oh, almost. As you walk towards it, sort of slightly ripples, but it is. The sun is reflecting on it such a way that it's almost mirror-like.
Oh, so you can't see what's under the water.
Yeah, are you looking at it?
Yeah.
Are you looking at it? As you look upon it, Squeek, your reflection looks back at you, and it has a big moustache that is curled and twisted at the end, and a metal helmet with goggles on.
And a bazooka on his shoulder.
Does anyone else
does it move when I move?
Yeah, it sort of ripples, as I say. You look at that in the pond. Is anyone looking in the same pond or a different pond?
I want to look in the mustache pond.
You look into the mustache pond and see yourself looking back again in a military uniform, sort of quite, I suppose, 17th, 18th century, with brass buckles and a tricorn hat.
Do I have a mustache?
Yes.
I need one of those.
What about Wanko and Lily?
I think I'm going to look into a different pond. It's far too crowded over there in Mustache Land.
What did you almost wear as your other Halloween costume, Lily?
I think I had been working on a Batgirl costume, but I couldn't get the ears quite right, so I gave up. And so the pirate costume was rushed together in the last minute.
So you see your face looking back at you in wearing a Batgirl costume, but as the breath under the water is sort of a figure that looks like you breathe. They breathe in that sort of cold mist, as if you've got warm breath hitting icy cold air.
Well, this is not the strangest thing we've seen here. This seems quite, dare I say normal? I don't know. What do you think, Wanko? Are you going to look into one of these, or?
I feel like Wanko clangs their magnetic sword on one of the rocks in hopes of making ripples on the water. Does the image in the water change?
Are you doing the same one that which one are you tapping with that?
The one with Lily.
So yeah, I think Bosch, it hits, and you can see now the pond behind it has 6 moons in the sky, but you can see looking back, not Lily Valentine at all. It's a woman who looks like Lily, that would probably for most of you mean nothing, but Lily, you can definitely see the face of your grandmother peering back at you.
Wow. Is that a magic sword? I thought it was just a rusty old thing.
It has magnets. Magnets is magic. Your grandma?
Yeah, yeah. So is this her back when she was in the labyrinth or years later?
Oh, about the same age as you are now. So
Okay.
you think that she was probably here.
So the others might recognize her if they were around back then.
Yes, and I'll leave individual characters to decide whether they do or don't know her.
Maybe Wanko says, "Hi, other Lily."
Yeah, that's true. We did establish that Wanko and Squeek did know Lily in the she knew Valerie because they tried to summon Valerie, didn't they? That was in the opening scenes of the game. So
Yes.
that's Valerie Valentine staring back, and a sort of hand reaches out and touches the water.
Yeah, I feel
Hey,
like maybe Wanko
your
jumps.
grandmother.
Yeah.
The gaze is strange and possibly lasting too long. But what are you doing, Lily? Are you staying?
Yeah, I think I am maybe cognizant of time, right? The the temptation to stay around and to play with this, um, mirror vision pond
But
is there, but I think we should pick
there are
the
exits, which means we don't really need to do anything with this.
There are
No,
silent, voiceless words coming from the reflection, and she's looking at Squeak and Wanko.
Can I lip read? Because I'm a spy.
You're very good at listening and spotting, right? So
Yep.
this would be a 4 or above.
I've got none of those. I've got a 2.
So you sort of stop and watch, and the words are mesmerizing, but she says, said, if you were just to wish for it and ask for it, I could come instead. I know this place way better than Lily ever does. What do you need? Is Lily going to help you, or will I be the one that will help you find your recipe and your friends? It was me you wanted, after all.
Well, you stole the recipe from us originally.
Says, I didn't steal it. I had it on me when the Goblin King expelled me from the labyrinth and closed the door.
I think Wanko gets upset at Valerie and says, "Why are you mean? You're weird." And splashes on the water. And checks on Lily if they reacted or understood what they said to Squeak.
I think you splash the water, it goes up, and the water sort of takes on hand forms, and it's grabbing and trying to pull Lily down into the water.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'm not going to let it happen. Not what I would.
So I think we know that you're strong with endurance and bravery. So whatever this is, yes, I think you can roll 2 dice. If anyone is helping, well, you can help either Lily or you can help Valerie. The choices are yours.
Let go.
So you're helping Lily. What about Wanko?
Definitely Lily. Yeah.
Okay, so that will put the difficulty down to a 3.
Okay, so I'm rolling 2 dice.
2 dice.
For
And you need to get
a 3.
a 4 above.
I got a 4.
So you pull away, and the sort of the ripple sort of shows the true face of this sort of a demonic sort of twisted face in the water, and it sort of hisses at you and disappears down into the depths. But that was that was off the back of an initial failure to begin with. So I'm afraid the hour clocks 3 on the clock.
Let's hurry. Maybe the exit opposite the pool we're at. I don't know.
Scraggle, what were you doing?
I was still at the mustache pool. I was wondering if I could talk Wanko out of one of their eyebrows to use his mustache, but but right now they're all doing shenanigans. There's a third pool though. Maybe it has another kind of mustache, like a beard. And I want to look at that while the others are doing their stuff with the second one.
Sure. As they're doing that, you look down into the water, and you see your own clothes and looks back at you. But what you see is if Scraggle was a dwarf, not a goblin, looking back at you.
Ugh. I mean, okay, it's got a beard, but no, the ears are, my gosh, you poor fellow. Look at my beautiful ears. And I'm checking. Oh my gosh, are my ears still there?
Let's
or am I a
see
dwarf
if that's
now?
the case. No, I don't think you're a dwarf. Well, we'll find out, shall we?
Oh,
so
no.
let's roll. Let's roll. You can call your goblin features in.
Yes.
For this, right?
Yes.
But you're looking.
Yes.
You're looking to hold a 4. Again,
no.
4 above.
Okay. Whew, I've got a 5.
You reach up tentatively and to check. And you've got your pointed ears rather than the big lobed ears of a dwarf.
And I'm rushing off. Don't look into that pool. That's evil. It's pure evil. And I think we maybe should take the one by the mustache pool, because that was cool. That was the only pool that had a cool image, right?
So are the exits aligned with the pools in any way?
Yeah, let's say they are. One is sort of like by each one of the 3 ways out.
Well, that wasn't nice. That wasn't nice either.
Like the one where I got a mustache. You don't even have a toe, Squeek. Or do you? Do you have a toe?
A toe? What? Sorry?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a
word by
its toe.
Worm.
Catch a mermaid by its toe.
Name grab it by the worm.
Let's take that one. Or maybe that one? Lily, you decide. I will leave that to you right now, because you're the, I don't know, you're the human. You're the guest. You're the guest.
Oh, Well, I guess the mustache one was pretty harmless, right? In comparison, at least. So let's take that one.
As we're going, I'm saying, hey, Wanko, do you know, can you detach your eyebrows? Would you lend me one?
Wanko's like pouts really, really deeply, but also just goes and then lends you one.
Ah, I've got a mustache now. I'll give it back, but look.
Ow! In the most, he's like, oh, before he gives it to you.
Bright orange mustache.
Yes.
Excellent. As you step out and down again through the winding and tight turning sides of the hedge maze, would someone like to roll a d6 for me at this point?
I rolled last time, so someone
Yeah,
else.
someone else like to roll?
I rolled a 6.
Okay. So we'll discover what we find next. So before we hit the next room, does anyone want to speak to anyone? Does anyone ask Lily how she's feeling about almost being dragged down to the depths by her grandmother?
By this in lieu of a different word, I'm calling that a hippogriff, because hippopotamuses live in water and they're very dangerous. So and they did try to trick me, so a bit of a grifter going on as well. So I guess that's a hippogriff, but I definitely did not make it cry. So I don't know.
You're supposed to make a night troll cry.
Oh yeah, it's a different thing. What am I supposed to do with a hippogriff?
I think it's Squeek who's supposed to do something with a hippogriff.
Hippogriffs were very susceptible to flattery. Or what's that meant to cause? Maybe either, maybe both, maybe none of them.
So yes, well, I mean, thanks for helping me. I guess I don't know what would have happened if you didn't hold on to my leg there.
Well, it's the least we can do. We don't want another Valentine to disappear here.
We've got your back, Lily, always.
You were doodling mustaches on while I was being dragged into the icy depths, Scraggle.
You did not. No, of course I dragged you back as well. You probably didn't see me there, but I totally did.
Oh, Wanko's like blowing at Lily's hair just to help her get dry, because he's made of fire.
That's a beautiful image of being used as a hand, as sort of a hairdryer, blowing off the excess water to a toasty warm. But the hedge maze opens up into a wide, lush orchard, packed with strange trees with odd coloured fruits. Fairies are flitting back and forth from tree to tree, their glittering wings. They are fighting to what it seems, and not fighting as in pushing back and forth and competing with hummingbirds for nectar. And near the centre of the orchard, a group of 4 night trolls lounge beneath the largest tree. And at the end of the orchard, a great golden door with a heavy lock leads deeper into the labyrinth.
So what do those night trolls look like?
One of them is bear-sized. Very long and powerful tail with patchy brown fur. One of them has matted green fur and glowing green eyes. Another.
So is this like night trolls without a K or with a K? That's what I'm wondering.
These are night trolls with an N rather than a K. Yeah. Another one has a boar face, very short, stubbly legs. I keep rolling a 5.
Do
Whilst
anything other...
the final one is white and black striped fur with a snout as long as a crocodile.
Are these supposed to be scary, Squeek, or what do we think?
I don't know.
Yes, they're quite territorial, and
Yeah,
they're the Goblin King's. Sorry, find it. Yeah, they're quite scary, and the fairies are flittering around. On the one that's got the crocodile-like snout, you can see a golden key on the on a chain, and it's got that using it like a toothpick, pulling out something from between its teeth.
You probably need to get that key to get through that golden door over there.
Like, you don't need keys to get through doors. I mean, some people do, but we don't. Because
Ooh.
you can just push something in them and then wiggle it a bit, and then the door will open. That usually works.
But if that door is magic.
Oh, yeah. Then you'd need a magician. Then you'd need a magician to say words over it before you can do that. Otherwise, you'll get sad.
One of the fairies whooshes down towards you. Would someone roll a d6 for me, please?
I can roll a d6.
Yep.
I rolled a 1.
The fairy whooshes down in glittering silvery clothes, but with a green mohawk up upon its head and a safety pin through its nose. And it slips down in front of you and goes, "Oi!" Goes, "Oi! Who's in charge then?"
Well, I am, obviously.
I mean, the Goblin King, I think, has been established as being in charge, right? Right, Scraggle?
Oh, well, that's, yes, for the moment, but it's not decided for all eternity. So, also, everybody should be in charge, maybe. And listen to what I say, of course. I'm Scraggle, by the way.
What we're assuming then is you, Goblin, you're the duly appointed negotiated leader of this conclave of adventurers.
Sure.
Says,
Conclave? I mean, I don't know what that means. That sounds like very formal.
It's the kind of, like a lens, and it bends inward. That's what a conclave is. I don't know what it means in this, you would say that, but they're fairies, they're a bit weird, especially the punk ones. Sometimes they don't even can pronounce an H.
We've got ourselves a night troll infestation. They're here in our orchard, stealing our fruit and stopping us getting into our homes. And you can see the tree that they're under has got what appears to be like a little miniature village up across the branches of beautifully sized and colourful houses. Said, we were hoping to employ your good selves with such adventurous acumen to be able to take care of these trolls for us. Points at the fiery. You've got a sword. You must be tough as something.
Wanko like perks up and says, and then offers like a cake and says, "You smell like this."
Wait a minute. Fairy cakes aren't made of fairies, are they?
No, I mean, they're not made of fairies. I'm just guessing they have the same fruits as where fairies hang out.
Whew.
Goes, make fairies don't what? Said typical human wanting to eat the fairies.
I was just hoping that the fairy cakes here, because everything is so strange to me, aren't made out of fairies. Because, at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
Wanko cuts up the fairy cake and with the sword, and like on the tip of the sword, like pokes it at with one of the fairy's wings.
Sort of it typically you poke the fairy's wings, did you say?
Oh yeah, with like I have the cake on the end of the
Oh
sword.
right, you're passing a cake over to them.
Yeah.
He goes, oh no, I don't eat cakes. No good for my waist. And he whooshes off and comes back with a round blue fruit. It's about the size of an orange and the texture of an orange, but it is blue skinned. Says, try one of these. Glorious.
I'm full. Sorry, I ate a lot. You know these night trolls. What they want to eat the fruit, right? That's why they're here. And
yes,
maybe.
That's right. They want the orchard for themselves. It's not fair. We were here
No,
first.
it's not fair. The orchard should belong to everyone, like you and the trolls and everybody who likes fruits. Because I mean, why should only one have that? That would also not be fair.
He says there's all sorts of fruits. He points to the tree with the blue fruits on that you can see, another bush with red berries, a shrub that has orange pears, and a tall palm tree with a single yellow fruit. Said, we can help you. We can help you to get in and then get out and deal with the trolls. Go on, get them.
Well, I have an idea.
Well, I
Lily.
have an idea too. You can't steal anything from anyone else because people get annoyed at you, Scraggle.
I didn't want to steal anything. I wanted you to go and make the night trolls cry because that's the prophecy, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So go and tell them a sad story.
Okay. So off I walk straight up to the night trolls.
I'm following.
Until they pay attention to me.
I'm following Lily, just to see what will happen.
One of them, the one with the bear sort of sized, big fluffy one with patchy brown fur looks over at you and goes, "What are you then?"
I'm Lily.
I've seen a goblin. I've seen a fairy. I've seen a fiery. I've seen dwarves. I even once saw an octopus, but I've never seen a lily before.
Oh, I'm a human. My name is Lily. But that's okay. I've never seen a night troll before. Are you all night trolls?
Yeah, we're all night trolls. What? You shouldn't be taught. Listen to those fairies over there. We're just here to make sure that no one goes through. You see, there's some interlopers in the labyrinth, and the Goblin King has said we can have all the fruit and make our place here if we stop the interlopers going through. It's you wouldn't believe it. There's like a person, and a worm, and a fiery, and a goblin all together. Luckily, you're a human and not a person.
Okay. But the Goblin King is always giving away things that don't belong to them. These fruits aren't the Goblin King is to give away. They're the fairies.
get him, says, as I say, the mohawked, covered, so the mohawk head fairy who zips down and puts into your hand an orange pear, Wanko. So you've got the blue fruit in one and the orange pear in the other. The orange pear is hissing as if there's like a fuse burning on it. And he goes, well, says Rufo, goes, I suppose, I mean, we could have and he gets thumped on the head by the one with the crocodile snout who has the key, and he sort of looks at you and says, if you don't like us being here, then you can have a rumble.
Well, I think you ought to be ashamed of yourself, troll, because look at all these fairies and hummingbirds. You're scaring them, and they're not able to get into their house. And I think you're being exactly the kind of bully that the Goblin King is being, and you know better.
Wanko, the orange pear fruit in your hand, the little stalk on it is like fizzling away, and you can feel it's getting warmer and starting to go, sort of expand in your hand.
Eat it.
Sorry?
I
Eat
totally.
You yonk it down into your mouth, and then inside you feel it go boom. And as it goes boom, your limbs go flying off in all the direction, your head rolling across the ground. So sort of one of the trolls. It's the one who's got the glowing yellow eyes going, Jody, the pears, they explode. Sort of the troll looks back. So unfortunately, Wanko's in pieces. Scraggle, Squeek, how are you?
Of course, Wanko. I'll help Wanko put himself back together, and then like gathering up the limbs and putting them back, and probably putting the arms on the wrong way around. But
Wanko's head is literally up the tree above the trolls, looking down at you. It's gone through the roof of one of the fairy houses.
Oh no! I'll get the head. I get the head. Maybe Squeak can help with the assembling of the limbs, but I'll climb up and try to get the head. And I will look at the trolls and I will say, "You are being very mean. That's not. If I were king, the Goblin King, then." Everybody would have to share, because that otherwise it's not fair. Things should be fair. And I'll climb the tree.
Lupe sort of looks at you, sort of first of all, Moonbuzz and the fairy with the mohawk says to Squeak, going, I thought you'd throw it at them, not eat it. You don't want to eat the orange pears, they explode.
It's a goblin. What do you expect?
I said, as sort of you move towards the tree to climb it, Scraggle, the black and white striped troll swoops with its hand across, trying to grab you, and you'll need to try and dodge it if you can. The difficulty you're going to have is you've got a very full belly.
I would like to help.
How are you helping?
By spilling my bag of marbles at its feet.
Cool. So that will counter out the full belly, meaning you're just going to roll 1, unless you think there's a trait that you should bring in here, Scraggle.
I mean, I'm good at sneaking and hiding. Maybe I can sneak and hide around him.
Yeah, I think you should do that. Let's see if you're fast enough to dodge them. You need to roll a 5 or a 6.
Oh no. Okay.
But you're rolling 2 dice, so you've got a fair chance.
No, I've rolled a 1 and a 3.
Oi! Says Lupe, grabbing you. He goes, it's my tree! And he sort of grabs you and chucks you over the wall beyond the golden gate.
Ah!
I mean, that works, right?
Throw me!
So the troll looks at you and says, "If you don't like it, you can fight me for it, human."
So I'm gonna I guess giving out to these trolls hasn't worked, but so I'm gonna say, how do you even know this this person is gonna come this way? Like back there's 3 doorways into 3 different places. I think you should go back to the pools and wait there for them.
Back to the pools. Oh God, no, that's spooky. Wouldn't go there. Wouldn't go
Well,
there
you
if
just
you
don't-
paid me.
Just don't look into the pools. Turn your back to them.
That's even worse. They'll sneak up on you then. He said,
Well,
one
well,
of
maybe
them, I
there's
looked into one
4
of those
doorways.
pools once and I was a goblin. Another time with a moustache. I can't pull off a moustache.
I mean, I think you might be able to. You know, it takes a bit of work and effort, but
Says, it's too scary. I'm not doing it. Don't make me think about it.
the mustache or the pools?
Both.
Well, I mean, I don't think we can let you stay here. And there's 4 doorways in the next. I mean, what would the Goblin King say if he heard that his elite guard of night trolls was too scared of a pool of water?
You wouldn't tell him, would you?
Well, I think I ought to. He should know what type of people, what type of trolls they have working for them.
So as this is going on, Wanko, most of you is back together. Your head's up the tree. And Squeek, what are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to get the troll's attention there. Throw me! Throw me! So that he punted.
Sort of that being the case, one of the trolls looks down at you on the ground of the worm and says, "If you like," and he sort of flicks you up and over the wall, landing on the other side. But we'll come back to you in a minute. So it's just Lily and Wanko left. Wanko's body sort of wandering around looking for the head up the tree. You're trying to give it directions, going, "Look, don't, I'm not going back to those ponds, and don't tell the Goblin King."
Well, then just go and sit in the doorways, and anything that goes in there won't come out.
It's like, wait, you're not with the Goblin King, are you? I don't want to fail my employee review again.
Well, that I have an express invitation to the center of the labyrinth, hand delivered to me by the Goblin King. So I think you better behave, and I better not hear any word of what these fairies think of you, or else you will be failing your annual review. And that scary KPI that you're so proud of will go right down the drain.
So I think you will want to roll against this. You can, I think, appropriately use your might make a night troll cry.
Yeah. Though
You're trying to get a 4 or above. Oh yeah, yes. So that will counter out. So you'll then be rolling just 1 dice, and you're looking for a 4 or above.
Okay. Okay, let me grab a die. A 4. There you go.
So the troll goes, "No, I don't want. I'm scary. Don't say that." And he sort of raises his hand against his sort of tearful, snotty face, and says, "Look, I'll let you through." And pulls Wanko's head out of the tree, and plonks it back on, and says, "We'll just hang around here and see if that person arrives. Sorry."
But you have to promise to let the fairies, do their thing.
Yes, of course.
Wanko coughs from like a little bit of the fruit from his head before being plopped back to his body.
You say that again, Maria. You grab some of the fruit, did you say?
Oh no. he coughs out some of the
Oh,
fruit.
coughs out the fruit. Yeah.
Yeah, before like being returned to his body, and goes like, eh.
With a little plume of black smoke.
Yeah.
Whoosh, and the fairy comes over to you, Moon Blossom, and says, "Cool. I never thought of talking him down like that. I thought we'd have to fight him." Said you're quite. He sort of says, "Yeah, there's a small gift for you," and it hands you some blue fruit and some red berries.
And I don't know, based on the behavior of the pears, what are these things going to do?
Said, the blue fruit, it said, is quite good. It'll shrink you down to the size of a fairy. Just for a little while. And it said, and the red berries, they'll give you the strength of 2 night trolls. Just for a little while.
Okay, well, those are very handy.
And he sort of, the small little fairy taps in the shoulder and goes, "You're the best person I've ever met." In which the troll sort of snaps their heads at you going, "Person? Oi!" But you have the key to the door, allowing you to leave the room.
I guess we shall exit stage left.
It takes a while of shouting for each other and playing Marco Polo to bring your merry crew back together. The worm landed splosh into a pond, whilst Scraggle Neat Fingers, when you find them, is hanging from a tree by their braces.
This is intentional. I'm meant to be here. Help.
We'll just pull on their legs and let go.
Boing.
But the hour goes up for the time it takes you to find and rescue the other 2.
So we're at 4 now?
Yes, you are at 4 in terms of your hours. Don't worry, there are ways to put it back as well. The clock clicks 4 at the tower in the castle. Boom. Would someone who has not rolled so far like to roll for us, please?
I think Maria.
Do you want to roll, Maria, or will I?
Oh, I wrote. Sorry.
Okay.
4.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna also say, coming out of that scene, I'm going to give Wanko, because I think you gave them they didn't eat the fairy cake, but you also have one of the exploding orange pears, Wanko.
Oh, okay.
Which you can use to make yourself explode, or something else at a later point.
If you ever need to get your head into a tree again, it's the best way forward.
So yes, the tree that you find Scraggle in, you pull them down, and not far from beyond you, you can hear clashing of steel and the roar of a crowd. You can go that way, or there is an additional...
Gladiators, probably. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you say you could choose to go that way or onwards.
I mean, they're good fun usually, but might be a distraction. The Goblin King is tricky that way. Oh, Wanko, let me give back your eyebrow. I think you look funny with only one, and I'll figure something else out about the mustache. Thank you.
He also says thank you. and says, and says that he wants to go onwards.
Okay. So you're not, as you sort of head towards away from that room then, if that is the plan, yeah?
Yep.
And further into the labyrinth. It takes a little while to travel as you head your way through the hedges back and forth. Does anyone want to discuss anything with any other characters before I introduce the next set piece?
I don't know. Are we getting closer?
It's difficult. It's difficult to see because the hedges are taller than all of you, leaving you in such a way that you can't really see past.
I wonder if we
one
had
of the hedges.
If we got Scraggle on top of my shoulders and Wanko on top of his and Squeek at the very top, we might be able to find a trench coat large enough for us to.
I like that idea. Let's try that.
Or at least Squeek might be able to see over the top of the hedge.
Exactly. Let's go. I climb onto your shoulders.
Or I can just climb the hedge.
The hedge might try to defend itself. Be careful.
Oh, and by the way, I think because you spent you were squeezed when the night so the troll grabbed you and then spent time hanging in the tree, Scraggle. Your full belly floor is now removed.
I'm hungry again.
Oh yes, I think we see you precariously. Who is at the bottom of the of you calling sort of climbing on top of each other?
I think it's me at the bottom.
Followed by Scraggle, and then Wanko and Squeek on top.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So stretching as tall as you can just see over the top of the hedge. Sorry, Squeek, and you can see in the distance. You are heading, you think, in the right direction, but it's difficult to know because you sort of go left to right and then back around on yourself. It's a maze, after all. You can see glittering light not too far away. You can see balloons floating above the sort of the tops of the hedges, and you sort of catch the glint of someone with a telescope who's just spotted you. And elsewhere, you can hear the shout or the clantering of you can sort of see back to the way you came, where there is that clattering and the shouting of the duel, and standing across with a sword, fighting the dwarves. Sorry, the worms that you saw in the tavern last time, is the woman you freed from the giant's cage. So you have a choice of which way to go, towards the light, the balloons, or back towards the duel.
The woman from the cage is attacking worms over there, and there's some glittering light that way, and there's someone with a telescope watching us over there. So I don't know. I mean, the worms are good people, and the woman clearly didn't, like her husband very much. So maybe we should, deal with her.
I think we should protect the worms, yes, because the worms wrote the recipe, and they might know something. Right? Oh, sorry, Wanko, I should keep my hands up there.
Wanko offers the sword to Lily's hand.
Ooh, thank you. Thank you. I have two very fine hands of my own. Look, they are very neat. I wiggle my fingers. They're very long fingers with very dirty fingernails.
So which direction do you choose to go towards?
Let's go and save the worms.
Yep.
You head back the way you came and into say the rectangular room or sort of entry area in the maze. The pillars is sort of Romanesque pillars which have been toppled here, and you can see dancing from pillar to pillar and stone to stone, the woman you freed from from the cage. She is now in a duelist's sort of sword fighting outfit with a rapier. Each of the worms that you found in the bar now also have little swords, and they're fighting her sort of 6-1, and she's sort of pushing them back and forth in a musketeerish type duel, pushing back and forth until such point as she leaps with a flip behind them, and with a single cling, all of the worms' swords go flying up into the air and plonk down into the ground behind them, and they sort of throw their hands up as she sort of points the sword at them.
Oh no!
She goes, "Ha ha! Undefeated once again."
Oi! I call. I've taken that from the ferry. I like that one. What's going on? Is this for fun, or do we have problems here? Please don't hurt the worms.
She sort of whooshes her sword and it sort of cuts the air with a whoosh, and she says, "Pa!" It says, I have sort of, this is no business of yours. You did me a favor by freeing me, but I am Evangeline LaRouche, and I am the greatest swordsperson in all of the labyrinth. I said, these worms thought they were better than me, and as a result, I have defeated them, and now they will pay my bar bill. The worms are crying. We're ruined, cry the worms. Says, ha! And if you don't think you are capable, he said, no, go about your business. Go elsewhere. This is not the direction for you. I am here, and none shall pass unless they defeat me.
Well, how much of a barbell can you have built up with 100 years in the cage?
Interest.
She says, aha. Said, my tastes are expensive. Says, you ordered the lobster and champagne. Said, all my loafish husband would ever do was bring me the free bar snacks.
Wow. In that case, he probably deserves being in the cage instead of you. Those were horrible.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Said, which about you will duel me? Ha ha! She cuts it and says, if you feel brave enough, if not, away, and I will be about my business. You see, I am looking for a person.
Well, we don't know any people,
Nope.
but
No person here.
Wanko, maybe I could borrow your sword because I sweep back my pirate's coat to display the sword at my side, but unfortunately it's a plastic toy sword. So
Or the short ones.
Yeah. So perhaps I can use this magnificent sword of yours, Wanko, just for this fight.
I feel like Wanko wants to. I feel like before Wanko offers it to you, he says really, 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 really loudly how he has a very, very rare pair that he wants to offer to such a brave pirate who will fight this. What's their name? Sorry, the Evangeline.
Evangeline.
But Wanko like offers it right in front of Evangeline's face anyway.
So that was the sword, yeah?
Sword and the pair.
Ah, the sword and the pear.
Dangles the pear in front of Evangeline.
Yeah, Evangeline says, haha, if you defeat me honorably, then my blade will be at your disposal.
I mean, I'm not sure what honorably means, but sure.
And you will come with the blade, right? Not we don't just get the blade. Just clarifying here.
I will come with the blade to your defense should you ever need me. Should you need me, call my name. And she sort of cuts an E into the air with a whoosh.
Wow. Wanko is very impressed and then retracts the pear and sits down and pretends to watch, like with popcorn.
Says, haha. Says, how fitting it is to fight you, Lily Valentine. It was your grandmother who beat me and I ended up in that cage.
Well, that's unfortunate because all of the sword moves and flourishes that I know I learnt in my grandmother's kitchen.
She sort of takes a step, and for the first moment, her bravado she raises an eyebrow, going, So, said, then let's see if you learned well. And she takes a dueling stance. So the dual track goes back and forth, and it's sort of there's a track here that we're trying to beat. So this won't be just one roll. As you roll, you move around the landscape in the duel, and some will give you advantages and not. But if you beat her in a duel, the terms have been set out, and if she beats you. Then she will take your sword as a payment.
Can we help?
Potentially. Depends what Lily does. So I think it's for Lily to sort of describe how they act, because I think she takes the first move and whooshes into the center of the arena, which is a clear sort of dueling area and a sandy floor, and sort of takes an on guard position.
So yeah, I think I hold up this magic sword that I have, courtesy of Wanko. Slowly getting attuned to its weight, and then as we meet blades, I mean, it seems rather unfair, but of course, as a magnetic sword, I think I shall draw away Evangeline's sword, maybe even out of her grasp, before lunging.
Then roll with your advantage. You're trying to get a 5 or above.
So I guess I'm rolling one die normally. Am I?
You're rolling with the equipment, so that's 2 dice.
So for the magnetic sword and endurance and bravery, maybe?
Yeah, so roll 3 dice.
3 dice. Okay, cool.
Ooh.
Six.
6. So describe what happens with this sword then as you pull out the magnetic blade.
So yeah, I think the her sword, touches it, and then as I draw mine back, I draw her guard open and then flick it aside and lunge directly at her throat. But of course, I mean, I will stop before we do more than nick her skin.
Cool. So as I say, the blade, she is taken aback by how fast you move, and then leaps and rolls to the side. But you get to roll 2d6 now. As you say, she leaps across the terrain to see where she lands, and you will get a choice because you are ahead in the duel.
Okay. I got a 3 and a 1.
So you can choose either to be in a rock garden with very unsteady footing and a number of large boulders, or a large stone platform 6 feet high with a flight of stairs reaching up to the top.
I think we'll take the platform with the stairs.
So she swings from a chandelier. Why there's a chandelier there and what it's connected to, you're not sure, but she just swings forward and is on the top of the stairs and sort of takes goes, ha ha! What you don't realize is you have underestimated me. She sort of holds up her arm. I'm not a left-handed swords person. I was giving you an advantage. And she puts it into her right hand and says, on guard! And swooshes the saber, and there's an E in the air again.
If only you were so skilled that you could spell out your entire name, but maybe you're not able. Let me show you. And I will like cut a V into the air right in front of her as I advance up the stairs.
Okay, so you can get your 3 dice again at the moment, but you are quite blunt and mean to her there. So I'm going to call blunt against you.
Okay.
Putting you back to 2 dice.
I mean, I'm only trying to stick her with a sword. You know, my words are blunt. Okay, let me roll 2 dice. A 4.
Is not enough. If someone, as you see, sort of, you type the V into the air, at which point she flips over you and is behind you and pushes your sword down with her blade. But is anyone intervening or trying to help?
I would like to help. I've still got a fairy plate that I took from the feast.
Yep.
And I would like to throw the plate so that her foot lands on the plate, and that's not a very stable position, and it will kind of unbalance her.
So you would be rolling 2 at this point because it's being sneaky. You can roll 3 dice, and as long as you get a 5 or above, then the duel continues to Lily's
Need
advantage.
one more die. I'll take that one. Oh, that's the wrong color, but it is a 6.
Ah, so she sort of takes that foot onto the plate, which is spun under her feet, and loses her footing slightly. But again, she flips elsewhere. So again, she is now. You have a choice of being in a number of fallen pillars about 2 feet wide, or tall grass, where smaller characters have a much harder time maneuvering. Or maybe easier, depending on what you should do. Would you like to be upon the pillars or the tall grass, Lily?
Pillars, maybe, unless we have an opportunity for Squeek to do some sneaking through the long grass. What do you think, Ozzy? Sneaking through the long grass? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Let's go with
will
that.
try and get behind her.
Okay, so what will you be trying to do when you get behind her?
Tie your shoelaces together.
Well, why don't we roll 2 dice with your very small to see if you're able to tie her shoelaces together.
Ooh, a 5.
Aha. So you will be rolling, Lily, your 3 dice again, but your difficulty will be 4 this time.
Okay. Another 6, thankfully.
So do you want to describe how you win the duel, probably incorporating the tied shoelaces?
Yeah, so I think we have, walked into, I don't know, a wheat field or high reeds in the grass, and we are for the time being, I am holding my own, and we are locked in this tight flurry of blows. But really, what's happening is that we're just staying in one place, and that allows Squeek to tie Evangeline's shoelaces, and then as soon as I get the thumbs up from Squeek, maybe I start to give ground, and then I take a jump back, maybe in preparation for a lunge, but Evangeline follows up with her own attack, and she steps she takes a long step to prepare for her lunge, and that's when the shoelaces prove to be her undoing, and she trips over and falls into the reeds at my feet, and I lay the blade on her chest and say, "Do you yield, my lady?"
Goes, wait, that's not fair. She looks down at her shoelaces and says, said, one of your comrades intervened. You did not beat me fairly and squarely.
Well, that much is true, I suppose. But I mean, I didn't have a sword when we started. I've never wielded this blade, and in fact, I would say my training at my grandmother's feet in the kitchen was mostly cooking, and never did she teach me to wield a sword. So, I think you had an advantage over me.
Fine, she says, but know this, that I will tell everyone that you are a duplicitous Valentine. You always are. You never play the game fairly.
Well, I mean, I'd be more worried about your own reputation, Evangeline, if you are able to be undone by a worm at your feet.
Humph, she says. Then so be it. I have made my pact with you. If you call my name, should you need me, I will be your sword.
Well, thank you.
And because you didn't win fairly, you were going to pick up the floor sneaky. So Lily is now sneaky because people are getting wise to the fact that you're not playing by the fairy tale rules.
Well, I mean, it's not really me. It's all of my fairy tale companions who are being, duplicitous.
That's true, but you are traveling with a boastful goblin, a known thief, and an exploding fiery. So
You may know me by the company I keep, I suppose. That's fair.
Good. Okay, so she stands, undoes her shoelaces and ties them back up, sort of spots you, Squeek, and says, it's true what they say about you. And she cuts a door into the air with a sword and steps through. There's one exit from this place.
Wait, couldn't she have cut a door for us to the Goblin King's thingy castle? I mean, I say that when she's gone, of course.
I'm not sure how much, how clear she is to the Goblin King. I'm not sure.
I'll maybe keep it in the back of our minds.
Yeah.
You've done well to win this, Lily. That was really great. And I don't care what she says. She's wrong. You won fair and square.
Yep.
Because she slipped on a plate. She should have seen that, and she should have noticed that her shoelaces were tied. If she's that great a duelist, right? You just have to be aware of your surroundings as a great duelist. I've read that on a calendar thingy once. So it must be true.
It must be true. And I return Wanko's sword with a thank you.
You're welcome. I feel like Wanko's kind of like rocking back and forth and wants to ask Evangeline, why do you not like your husband so much?
You can have that conversation before she leaves.
He kept bringing her the free bar food. I mean, for 100 years, that's pretty damning.
Free bar food is pretty awful. And he never even tried to get her out, really. I mean, we did it in about 5 minutes, and he just, maybe he liked her being in a cage instead of running around challenging people to duels.
Yeah, I think she could answer that before she goes and says, Humph. He said, yes, for 100 years he brought me nothing but gruel. He could have gathered forces to get me out, but it was clear from the time that when we traveled with Valerie Valentine that his eyes were for her and not for me. And sort of then she cuts the door and is stepping out unless anyone wants to say anything else to her.
In a very angry way. I feel like Wanko tries to keep up with her with very tiny legs and like offers her like fairy cake in a sense that I'm sorry I wanted to be friends with mean husbando.
She looks and takes the cake and says, this is a kind gift indeed. Said, it is good to know that at least one of this, these you among you are kind and fair. So what I'm gonna check there is as you've given that fairy cake away, are you still selfish as a flaw? Because I don't know if Wanko is acting selfishly.
I know. Oh gosh. I think the only selfish thing he's done is ask people to save his friend, even though they don't know his friend.
So I'm wondering if you would like to change. In fact, giving it away, what I'm going to say at the moment is that flaw, I think, changes potentially from sort of. Does it change from selfish to kind-hearted?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Nice chart.
Maybe we should make Wanko Goblin King. I mean, I would pretty much, maybe we should make Wanko Goblin King and I could be the Prime Minister. I've always wanted to be a minister. I don't know what that means, but I always wanted to be it. Of course, I always wanted to be court jester as well, until I learned what that was. But, you know?
Wanko shivers a bit and is like, I just want Todd safe, and you should meet Todd. He's even smarter than me, and has longer limbs. And then he stretches out his hands to show how long it is, and how not than me.
That is, yes, we should meet him. We will go and meet him. We will rescue Todd from the Goblin King and overthrow the Goblin King and make you new king, or me, or somebody who deserves it. That's probably me. Let's be realistic.
You make your way further through the hedge maze, keeping an eye on the most visible sight that Squeek spotted, which was the balloons. Do you head towards them or away from them?
Are the balloons floating? Are they tied to something?
Yeah, they seem to be tied. They're like they are like hot air balloons with a steampunky Victorian early sort of vibe to them.
Ooh, that sort of balloons. Hey, if you can steal one of those balloons, we can fly directly to the castle.
Yes, I like the way you think, Squeek.
With the stealing again. We could just ask.
Borrow.
We could requisition it. I mean, that's we have to
ask nicely for one.
Okay, we can ask nicely, and if we don't, they say no, then we can steal it. That's fair.
Okay, let's head to the balloons then.
The huge hot air balloons sort of rise up before you. There are 4 in all. One's about sort of 60 foot in the air, one about 80, one about 100 foot. There's a 4th one which is deflated on the ground. They are tied, all of them, around stone heads. and the stone heads, like the rope is in the mouths of the stone heads, or sort of looking back and forth, rather and displeased by the fact they have been used as an anchor, and then muttering to each other. In two of the balloons are visibly goblins. The one at the top, that's the one with the telescope flicking back and forth. So you will need to be careful not to be seen. The others are in the lowest of the balloons, is looking. They seem to have been a little distracted and are drinking from a barrel of dwarfish beer.
Maybe we could just tell them to take us to the castle.
Because you're the Goblin King.
Yeah, well, most goblins are sadly enough loyal to the Goblin King. I don't know why. As I've said, they're not even a goblin, but well, okay. But we can maybe tell them that we have to go there and that is what the Goblin King wants, and maybe they will leave us and take us.
So, Dave, did you say one of them is not occupied, or is that just the one?
One of them is not occupied. So there is one deflated balloon. There is one at 60 foot that has drunk goblins in it. There is one 80 foot which appears to be unoccupied, and there is one at the top which has a man with a goblin with a telescope.
And how is it possible for us to get to the unoccupied one? Do we have to?
You'll have to
pull on the rope?
Climb the rope, or pull it down towards you in some way.
I wonder if I were to eat some red berries that might give me the strength of 2 night trolls, I would be able to drag a whole balloon down all by myself.
You might be. And you could certainly try that. Yeah.
Squeek can climb up the rope.
Squeak can have it to the empty one or to another one?
The empty one.
And Squeak's going to try and do that. Scraggle, what are you going to be doing whilst this is going on?
I think I'm going to distract the goblins in the 60-foot ship, because I mean they would probably do something about someone dragging down the other one that they would notice, unless I would go and distract them. Or, well, yeah, they probably have a ladder or something. Can I climb, or I just climb the rope? I mean,
climb the rope, yeah. But and then Wanko, what are you doing whilst this is going?
Lily's next to help make fires for the hot air balloon.
That would make sense. So why don't we see how the distraction goes to begin with from Scraggle and Leap Figures, to see how if this makes life easier or harder for Lily and Squeek. So you could definitely use your goblin features for this.
Yep, that was kind of the plan. I'm just rolling with 2 dice then, right?
That would be correct. And you're rolling against a 4 for this one.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, wow, I've got a 4 and a 6. Very goblin featurey.
So they sort of look over at your distraction and go, "Hey, I know you." He said, "I voted for you." He said, "Vote for him. I voted for the Goblin King." He said, "Well, that was going to be the Goblin King." And they are starting to shout and fight among each other about the
Perfect.
The distraction, sort of about who would be a legitimate Goblin King, which will give Lily the chance to eat the red berries, and that will give you an additional dice. Anything else you want to call?
I mean, I don't know how quickly one could do it, if it's going to be like is this a feat of endurance, because slowly, or is this?
I think it would be a feat of endurance, or you may burn your temporary trait, a full belly of fairy cakes, because you have plenty of energy at the moment from all that sugar.
Yeah. Let's burn that energy. So, yeah, I think that's 4 dice, is it?
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're looking for a 5 or a 6.
So 4 dice. A 5 and a 6.
So describe to us what it looks like as Lily gobbles the berries, and she gets the strength of 2 night trolls.
I think, you know, it's very tough to start off when she grabs the rope and starts pulling at it, and there's not a whole lot going on, and then slowly she builds up the energy. I think there might be a sea shanty or 2 sung on the way, you know, to get into the rhythm of hauling ropes, and then slowly but surely it floats down. Maybe we see it passing outside of the window of the lower airship as Scraggle, you know, argues goblin politics with the crew of that one until it finally reaches the ground.
And you're holding it down as Wanko and Squeek clamber in. Both Wanko and Squeek note that the smell of this gas that's keeping this aloft is quite horrible. In fact, you only smelt it something like this once before. You believe these balloons are filled with gas from the bog of eternal stench.
Oh no!
I was expecting it to be night troll farts, but
Similar too. As you pull it down, the 2 distracted. The goblins over there are distracted and they're fighting, but the one who is above, I think, does sort of spot as this sort of telescope comes down and spots all of you sort of starting to clamber in, and he goes, "Hey, oi, you! That's not your balloon. You can't be stealing it. You'll need to you'll need to come up here and fight me."
Oh, not again.
So I don't know, Scraggle, do you have any wisdom to impart upon this other goblin about forms submitted in triplicate?
I think can I extricate myself from the fighting goblins and get on board of the airship with the others?
Yes,
cool.
you can.
Oh yeah. Well, I will then. Yes, that is a good idea. I will then tell that goblin with a telescope that we are under a special order 66 and that this is what we have to do now. And if he doesn't know about it, then he maybe should look it up.
Right, so you're going to need to roll above a 5 here. I think you can use, well, you can use goblin features, or you could use wise.
We'll use goblin features. Yes, I rolled so well with that last time, so I'm goblin featuring here. Yeah, 5. I've got a 5. See, my goblin features are my best features. The ears.
Order 66, did you say? And he sort of gets out a little notebook and is starting to read the notes.
Subsection C.
Wanko, it's all on you to give enough lift with your fire to get the balloon away.
Do I roll?
Yeah, you're going to roll. You're going to need to get some heat and some fire under it. So I think you'll be using your fire fingers.
And then 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you're rolling one of 4 or above.
3 and a 6.
Woohoo! So do you want to describe what it's like when your fire fingers sort of ignite the gas and you're away?
I feel like Wanko has a cheeky grin and licks each of his fingers one by one, and then instead of it being wet, it turns a flame one by one, and then he shakes it around underneath the balloon to create like a hot ball of wind.
Excellent. So I think that gives you direction as you start pushing away. You realize that you're still tethered on the rope, though. So who's going to take care of that?
That one was a sword.
Oh. Oh.
I tell you what, you rolled a 6 as well. So I think maybe as your hands are doing that, your feet maybe detach and run off and untie the bottom of the rope as the balloon sort of pushes away, and in which is sort of you sort of float away, and the goblin goes, Order 66, subsection C. Oh, he goes, but I don't understand what this has got to do with the offside rule as you're floating away.
You have to put in a request form.
He goes,
347B.
said, but I don't want a haircut as you float away from the scene and off and over the hedgeland and into the next part of the labyrinth. And I think we will call that as our final scene for today, before next time you arrive in the lens of your... Okay, so let's draw that to a conclusion now. We will do a little round of stars and wishes to just sort of bring ourselves into a cool down at the end of the game. So I'm going to start with our worm this time for any stars that you would like to give out, Ozzy.
Ooh, so many, because it was all brilliant. I think sort of the great bit was Scraggle using Wanko's eyebrows and moustache. That was just sort of the point on the eye.
Yes, that was awesome. So then let's maybe go from Ozzy to Maria. Do you have any stars to give out?
Yeah, the session's really fun. I loved having my head stuck in a tree. That was, I like it. I like it. Yes, yes.
Cool. Donna.
And how it got there, you know, an obviously explosive pear. What would you do with it? Eat it, obviously. You know, I was at the time that happened. I was thinking, oh well, this is obviously how fieries get their energy. You know, they consume explosive fruit. But that was so much fun.
Cool. Anything else from you?
I really liked Scraggle's kind of boastful nature again, like taking credit for everything, and then whenever anything might go wrong, oh, it wasn't me, you know, like in that at the very start when we arrived in that crowd and the trumpet goes off and they all look around and it's like, it wasn't me, but what? Like, so yeah, that's totally fits the character. So yeah, that was good.
And Sabine?
Yeah, so many stars. It was so much fun. I loved all of it. I mean, I love Wanko and this kind of childlike way Wanko sees the world with the spider, speaking the spider, stuff like that. And Squeek always kind of crawling around and doing stuff, and Lily with her pirate's costume. That was awesome, that duel. I loved it. And David, I love the election. Thank you. It was so much fun. I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of glad I rolled badly on that, though.
You would have been picked on in a different way if you'd won it. Everyone would be saying, like, you're the Goblin King. You stood on a platform of giving everything I wanted. So I've got you another way. But that was fun.
I prefer being in opposition, Scraggle.
From a yes, I think for staff from a point of view as well, I think we all sort of hit our stride with the absurdity of the genre today, and I really appreciated people sort of stepping in with the sort of little scenes and character conversations between the set pieces as well. Let's go in reverse order back for any wishes. Sabine, any wishes for next time? More or lesser things you want to see?
I'm very happy with where we with the way the session worked. I want to see more Squeek spying. That would be a wish, because I think he'd be so good at it.
So that sets something up for Squeek to be at the front and center of things next time. Cool. Donna?
Yeah, I think, it was good to see Squeak make that impact with those tied shoelaces. That was a really neat move, Ozzy. So yeah, I mean, I think it's probably what I said last week. I like to see everyone's character traits come in a bit more, and I think maybe do we see a little bit of where Scraggle came from, maybe in the lands of Yore? I wonder, do we see some kind of a history or the things that he did to get into trouble, to get thrown out of the Goblin Court initially? Yeah, so stuff like that.
That would be quite fun.
Wasn't his fault? Maybe.
So the flow of it is sort of you've got the lands of Yore, and then the final session will be the Goblin City and the Goblin King's castle, right? So we can pick up those in the flow at any point. Maria, any wishes for you?
Just more of what we. I'm really good.
Cool. And Ozzy, any wishes from you?
Yeah, happy how it's going. That's cool. It's so much fun. Yeah,
Band.
brilliant
Cool.
stuff. Yep.
But I think
keep going at it. Yep.
I think we're good. Maria, I think we've come correct. We haven't got you next week, have we? You're not here.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Aww.
If you want. Yeah.
I think it's likely that you have to sort of stay in the balloon, and others, so we'll set piece up with something like that, which is a reason why you're separated for a while, but all will be good. So I am going to stop recording at the end of session 2.